Welcome to the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast. I'm Bobby Grenier, your trusted guide to navigating the world of real estate in Maine. Get ready to debunk mortgage myths, unravel real estate mysteries, and learn tips to avoid costly mistakes. Whether you're an industry pro, an overwhelmed buyer, confused seller, or simply curious about life in Maine, this is the podcast for you. Hey, my friend, welcome to the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast. I am Bobby, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things Maine real estate, but it's really so much more. Whether you are a real estate professional, whether you're buying a home or thinking about buying a home, selling your home, or just curious about Maine or how real estate works in the state of Maine, I have got you covered. All my OG listeners, thank you so much. As always, I appreciate your support. I wouldn't be here without you. And to my new listener, welcome. I'm really glad that you decided to check us out today. So today's topic is something that I'm not even sure why it's a topic, but for some reason, there's a discussion around this. So we're going to talk about it. And that is why your title company or closing company would request your identification. Yes, that was an awkward silence. It may seem obvious or apparent why we would need the party's ID, but for some reason, there continues to be pushback on this from buyers and sellers. So I had an extreme case one time of a woman that was so offended. She was a seller, so offended that I asked for her identification. She threw her driver's license across the closing table at me. Threw it. I was so shocked. I don't even remember what I said or what I did. I think I just picked it up, checked to make sure it was her, made sure it wasn't expired, photocopied it, and went about my business. But I never understood why she was so upset by this. I've thought about it quite a bit, probably more than I should admit. It's almost as though people are upset that I can't just trust them, that they are who they say they are. I'm pretty easygoing most days, but that is a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable for me or any other notary closer or attorney or title company. You have to bring an ID to closing. You have to provide that to us. But you don't have to just take my word for it. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why your title or closing company will ask for your ID. And the first one is very important: preventing fraud and identity theft. In this day and age, in this era, right now where we're at, fraud and identity theft is on the rise, and it increases every single year. Real estate is a prime target for fraudsters who try to impersonate homeowners or steal personal information to execute unauthorized sales or mortgage payoffs. We ask for your ID to ensure that the person signing the documents is indeed the correct individual who owns or is purchasing the property. This step is essential. It helps us prevent cases of seller impersonation or identity theft, which have become so prevalent. Why we may ask for it in advance? There are a few reasons. The first one is that if for some reason there's any question whether it's going to be an acceptable ID, we may ask you to provide the ID so that we can go to our underwriters and make sure that it will work for your closing. The other reason is if for some reason there was a red flag as to the identity of a party, we may ask for that ID ahead of time and run it through our closing lock platform, and that is our ID verification platform. And that will verify the ID and make sure that everybody is who they say they are. And that's really the bottom line. We just need to make sure everybody's on the up and up. The other reason that we ask for your ID is we will be notarizing documents at closing. The deed, the mortgage, many other documents will need to be notarized. In order to notarize a document, your notary closer or the attorney will require that valid ID. Valid picture, government issued, driver's license, state ID, passport, military ID, unexpired is what we're looking for. Please don't come at me with a Sam's Club card. I will not be able to accept that. Another reason is that we absolutely have to comply with the legal and regulatory requirements of the lender, and that includes the U.S. Patriot Act. The USA Patriot Act was enacted after the events of 9/11, and it's designed to strengthen the U.S.'s measure against terrorism. Part of the act requires financial institutions, including lenders and title companies, to verify the identities of their clients to prevent terrorist financing and other forms of financial crime. There is a form that we need to fill out, and in order to do this, we need that valid, government-issued picture ID. You'll all be saying it with me by the end of this podcast. We also ask for ID, and we may ask for it ahead of time, as we need to make sure that all of the parties are ready for closing. Our goal is always smooth coordination on closing day, and it is key to finalizing that real estate transaction. The closing or title company needs to ensure that the correct parties are present, especially when there are multiple buyers or multiple sellers involved, and also when the parties are signing at different times or different locations. So by getting that ID up front, we know who all the players are, who we need to have signed, and make sure that everybody, again, is who they say they are, and that our transaction is going to be valid and that there is absolutely no fraud involved. These are the major reasons why your title company is going to ask for your ID as part of your closing. There may be other ones, but these are truly the big three in my experience. I hope that sheds a little more light on why your title or closing company will ask for your ID as part of the closing process, and it is not because we want to see your driver's license picture. It's not because we care how much you weigh. It's not even that we want to know when your birthday is, although we might sing happy birthday to you. It is because we are required to do this, to do our job properly. So thanks for understanding. Thanks for listening. If you want more information, head over to MaineRealEstateRoundtable.com. I have put together a really great website, so go check it out. The show notes page has information about this episode and all of the episodes of the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast. It has references, links, more information about the guests, so go and check it out. This has been the Maine Real Estate Roundtable podcast with Bobby Grenier. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion and will share this episode with a friend. And don't forget to leave a review and follow the podcast so you don't miss new episodes. The content of this podcast is for informational purposes and not intended as legal advice or representation by myself or any of the guests on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep it real.